Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure for me too. So who is Sonya Victoria Gilmour?
Sonya Victoria Gilmour has done a lot in her little life, little being pint-sized life, because I'm pint-sized. I am a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an entrepreneur. But yet I've worn many coats. I sang professionally when I was 19 while I was going to hair school. I did hair for 25 years, switched careers. I focus on my husband's career and help him with all his businesses. So I wear a lot of hats. I'm a stepmom, there for my stepkids, and being the secondary parent, but yet never there to replace the mom's role. That's something I was always very cautious of, especially being a mom myself, right?
But you're close to your stepkids.
Close to my stepkids, have a great relationship with their mom, and yeah, it's great. I was, you never know, especially because we are 12 years apart in age, you never know going into a situation where I didn't have any kids. It was very important for me. Walking into a situation where he's already got his kids were older, but he was also at a different life. Like, he played hockey for so long and missed so many of those opportunities. And, so it was nice that we had one together, but yet it's so nice that they're so different in age, but yet they're so protective of their little sister, which I think was perfect timing.
Right. And your husband was a professional hockey player?
Yes, for a very long time.
Okay.
20 years.
And he would be Doug Gilmour?
Yes.
So would your 20-something self be surprised at where you are today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You never know. Like, I was married to somebody when I was 25. We were together for 12 years, high school sweetheart. So you never know exactly where your life is going to end up. Did I ever picture myself being a stepmom? No, but as we get older and relationships fall apart, you kind of have to prepare yourself for what might be next. I thought I'd be doing hair for the rest of my life, but I took different paths, and I'm happy that I did. I'm actually the happiest doing what I'm doing now than I've been in any other hats that I've worn.
And you've had several different careers. Like you said, you were a professional singer, which is amazing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was approached. I always loved to sing. I was approached and did it. And it's kind of a funny story. So I was doing hair, started singing, and it kind of just fell into my lap, and it kind of moved pretty quickly at the beginning. It's a very scary world, and I'm glad I did it when I was 20, 21, because I think a younger, impressionable young lady gets carried away, gets sucked into everything that you're promised. Had my song on the radio, I had backup dancers, I would perform at nightclubs, it was on a compilation, and it was great, and I'm so glad that I got to experience it. Got offered to go to California, and I was sleeping the one night, and the one producer from out there hopped into bed with me, and I creeped out. And he pretty much approached me the other day and said, I'll take care of you, you move out here, but if you like to sing, you're gonna have to do what's possible to sing. And I actually threw in the towel. I got to achieve more than so many people in life get to achieve. You have a dream, you hope it's going to come true. There's so many singers where you see are so talented and they're just out there singing on a street corner. I was okay walking away from it at that point.
Right.
I wasn't willing to compromise who I was in order to try to further my career. And I wasn't wanting to be molded into something that they felt was more suitable or was going to gain me more audience. I wasn't okay with that. I'm Sonya, and I'm okay with being Sonya.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm okay with being me.
Good, good. We all need more of that in our lives, right? So now you're in a completely different career.
Completely different.
You work in design?
I work for a renovation company.
Okay.
I also have my own business that's a subdivision from that. So I'm a decor coordinator.
Okay.
Our interior designer does all the architectural designs. So when we kind of brought our team together, it's my cousin's business, and asked me to stage his business because I've always loved decorating. I've always had an artistic eye being a hairstylist and all of that kind of stuff. So I said, sure. And clients started walking in for the renovation saying, I really like how it's decorated. So we kind of all just sat down and stormed one day, and I became a part of the company. So I'm the one who helps the clients pick out their cabinetry, their hardware, light fixtures, tiles. I do all the shopping, and they get so comfortable with me. I'm kind of the happy medium, especially between a couple who have two totally different tastes. Like, it's a very stressful situation.
Right, balancing that.
How
did you meet your partner, your husband?
So doing hair, I never watched a day of hockey. Okay, like NHL.
I was the same before I met my husband.
Yeah, funny enough, I used to do the hair for the Hamilton Bulldogs, the cheer squad, and the same for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But I never went to an NHL game. And I remember, his best friend used to be a client of mine, the wife and the son. And I had gone through my divorce. Then I dated somebody completely, totally different from my divorce, just because you go from complete opposites trying to learn from the situation.
Sure.
So I went from, one that wasn't as social to Mr. Party Boy that, which was great for the time. And you learn from everything. They were both great men, but it's just not something that I wanted for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. So he invited me and he said, a bunch of friends and I are going golfing. And do you want to meet up? And I said, no. And I think you're trying to set me up. And I want nothing to do with dating at this point. I'm actually okay being on my own. Like, I was with my ex since I was 17. Mm-hmm. And he said, come on, just come. And then I actually had worked a 13-hour day that day. And I had a bride at 6 o'clock the following morning. And I came so close to backing out. And my girlfriend called me. She said, don't change. Don't sit down when you come home. I'm coming to pick you up. So we went, and there was this huge ruckus around Doug. And
you're like, who is this guy?
I honestly didn't know. I didn't. And then at one point, one of my coworkers, she was out of hand. And I said, what is wrong with you? And she goes, don't you know who that is? And I said, no. She goes, well, that's Doug Gilmour. And the name sounded familiar. I'm not going to lie. You kind of hear, the name. And I said, okay, and who is he? She's like, he's a hockey player. I said, leave the guy alone. Leave him alone. He's here with his friends. He's been golfing with all the guys. Just leave him alone. Ironically, everybody was kind of switching seats throughout the day. Sat beside him. The first thing I said to him, heard you're a hockey player. Never watched a day in hockey. If you're looking for one of those girls to be like, so how was it like winning the Stanley Cup? Or how was it? And I said, you sat beside the wrong girl. He's like, no, I think I'm good. And he was going through a divorce. We became friends. We were friends for quite a few months. And then it just evolved. And funny enough, when I had left my old relationship, I said, the next guy I am going to be friends with before I get into a relationship. Because everybody puts their best face forward in the beginning, right? And then as time goes by, I wanted to know what he was really like.
Right.
So
friendships are a great way to start.
They are, yeah.
And has your family been supportive of you and your relationship?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad, unfortunately, Doug didn't get to know my father very long. My dad was sick. But my dad loved him right off the bat. They had such a great relationship, Am I sad that they didn't, have the time to get to know each other better? But funny enough, they're very similar in a lot of, and as they say, you marry your dad sometimes, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
How was your childhood?
It was good. It was honestly blue-collar family. They worked really hard, my parents, but it's not like nowadays where everybody's just focusing on keeping up with the Jones. Mm-hmm. It was about having food on the table and going camping every weekend. I had to grow up quick. My dad became ill when he was 47. And because of that, it was very challenging on the family. He was in and out of the hospital all the time. And when he was there, it was literally, we didn't know if he was going to come out. Mm-hmm. So my mom had to quit her job. She had to take care of him. My parents had their mortgage paid, almost lost their house because there was no source of income coming in.
Wow.
So it was me that was paying the bills, had, helped my parents re-mortgage their home. My sister and I are 14 years apart. She was in high school. My brother and I are 4. Boys sometimes don't take the same, and not all, but my brother, it was harder on him emotionally. I needed to be the stronger one. So I was a parent.
Right.
I was a parent at 19, taking care of my sister raising her and my brother.
And you had mentioned that you have the caregiver personality.
I do. So that's where it comes from.
Right. So what would you say have been, or what is kind of the biggest struggles in your life that you've overcome?
That was the biggest struggle. Yeah, because you're still trying to be a teen, you know, and thankfully I have the best girlfriends in the world. And anytime there was something going on with my dad, they were there. Valentine's Day, we were told, make preparations. He is not going to make it. And they all canceled their plans. So no matter, sometimes I did feel like I was missing out. Like, I'm 19 years old, right? But at that time, I'm so glad that I went through what I went through. After I went through my divorce, I moved back home. And I'm so glad that I did, because I got those moments back with my dad. I lived with so much guilt that everything was on my mom. And I wouldn't change it. But it was definitely a struggle, because I was working 60-hour weeks, but yet trying to be there for my father and trying to be there for my mom and trying to be a role model for my sister and brother. But yet that's when I was singing as well, like trying to, and I think that's what pushed me to kind of push through some of the stuff that was happening when I was singing. Is that I really wanted it to help my family.
Right.
But then it gets to a point when certain things are thrown at you, you're just like, yeah, I'm not willing to sacrifice that. I'm good. It's time to walk away.
So family has always obviously played a big part in your life.
Huge.
What's it like being a stepmom?
I love it. They are great kids, every single one of them. Like, I'm very, very blessed and very lucky. They all have their different personalities, and you know, my stepboys are 6'4" and 6'3". They're huge. They pick me up every time that, you know, they hug me.
Yeah.
Tyson's the little softie that, like, even when I was pregnant, he's cuddling in bed with me. We were in Punta Cana a couple years ago, and there I am holding on to this 6'3" of a beast trying to help him float. We have they're great kids. But I've also made it easy for them in a way. I wanted them to feel that they could always talk to me about their mom. I wanted them to feel that I was never there to overstep my boundaries or insert myself where there's certain things as a mom that are their duties. Yeah. So I think they've respected that and kind of seen that, you know what, she's an addition. She's not here to replace. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do some fun questions.
Okay.
All right. What makes you happy?
Being around people. Life is so short. Doug and I love to be at home. We love to entertain. I love to cook. We always have people over. Our guest bedroom is always being used. Doug has a friend that he's like, I'm coming over for dinner, and he stays for 4 days.
That's great.
Like, it's just the way our house is, you know? Just being around people and being social. And it doesn't have to be expensive moments. It doesn't have to be big moments. We've never been the type that need to go to the highest end restaurant, because I love food and so does he. And that's what's important for us, is just being surrounded by good people, kids. All my girlfriends have kids. Yeah, and family's so important to me, especially losing my dad at such a young age. Like, he passed away when he was 59. So that was, it's very young. It's reality though, right? But he lived a full life. But at the same time, I want to live that full life. So I think just really enjoying life and making memories. It's huge.
What makes you mad?
Oh, okay. So walking into a situation dating Doug Gilmour was not an easy transition for me. You are judged very quickly. I was a puck bunny because we're 12 years apart. They assume you're 30 years apart. I'm using him for his money. I'm a gold digger. I hate how quick people are to judge. I've worked very hard for everything I've done. I still continue to do so. I felt lost when I actually didn't make my own money. He's never made me feel awkward for that, but it's who I am as a person. People, especially with social media, people judge so quickly.
They do, yeah.
And nobody has a perfect life. And it's really sad. I've actually had women come up to me and say, really? Like, you're his girlfriend, really? And it's so hurtful. And they've actually made comments in front of my kid or my stepkids. It's horrible. But you walk away and you think, you know what? I can't be mad. I can't be angry. I can't let it change me where it hardens my personality, because I'm such a love, caring person. It just makes me realize that they're very sad inside. For the amount of energy that it takes to go to somebody and try to knock their self-esteem because of who they're with, it makes me sad. It makes me sad for them.
Well, I hope that they'll see this.
Hopefully.
And that will come to a quick
and
end
if not, it's okay.
Okay, what scares you?
Suffering. I think seeing my dad suffered more than I could imagine for anybody. It's inhumane, you know, and what's sad is that we don't allow our animals. And I'm so glad that they've come out with this pill, because I think when you have the option to end your suffering, I think we should all have the choice to just end it. Like, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Worst day of your life?
I think we all have those moments, but, you know, obviously losing my dad, having to say goodbye. But I think we all have those moments where, although it might be the worst day, like, you know, having to go through a divorce and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I think as time passes on, things become a blessing.
Right. At the time, it feels like the worst day, but then it turns into a great gift sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like you go through these moments, yes, and they're very traumatic. But I think they mold you as a person, as to who you are, and you learn from it, right?
And best day of your life?
There's so many. You know what? I appreciate life. I appreciate the people that are in my life. I'm so blessed. You know, with being who Doug is, you do have a lot of people that try to insert themselves in your lives for the wrong reasons. We are so blessed to have the families that we do, the friends that we do. Our wedding day was obviously wonderful.
I saw the photos. It looked lovely.
Yeah, we were engaged for 11 years before that happened. But no, it was just, you know, like we were content. Like, and it was him more that was just like, okay, you know, it's time. My daughter being born was like, I was told I might not be able to have children. So for me, that was like the biggest joy. But there's so many moments. Just, I think we really have to relish in the small moments.
So if you could share some wisdom to your younger self, what would you tell her?
You can't control everything that's going on in your life. I think because there was so much chaos when my dad was ill that I tried to control everything else. Things are going to happen regardless, right? Yeah. So you learn to kind of let control. Days don't go as planned, and especially with his schedule. Like, it's my mom just laughs at us. She helps us out a lot. And it's literally, oh, okay, you know, she'll call, how's it going? Good. And then all of a sudden he comes home, Mom, I'm going to be gone Thursday and Friday. She's like, what just happened? Like, he just came home. But that's how you learn.
Right.
Like, you just have to
go with the flow sometimes.
Go with the flow, and things could always be worse. You know, I do a lot of volunteer work with a project that's called the Angel Project, and we help complex care patients, which are never coming out of the hospital, pretty much paralyzed. And whenever I feel those moments where, we all have those moments where we're like, okay, this is a really crappy day. Can I start this over again? Like, let's just go to bed and call it a day. You walk into a situation like that, they're all happy. They have minimal, they haven't been outside in years. And just looking back at that, and now looking at my older self to my younger self, I wish I kind of knew that in the age to really look around. You know, look around at those people with walkers just trying to walk across the street. Like, we're truly blessed. We're blessed, even with the baggage that we all have. We all have baggage. We all have stuff that's going on. We're all truly blessed in our own ways. Just silver lining.
Yeah, we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.